if we're not being nice and respectful, as women, it's oftentimes seen as we're being bitchy, right? But I mean, that's taking care of yourself sometimes. It doesn't mean that you're being nasty. But if you feel that something's wrong, I'd rather be nasty and call a bitch than be hauled away to somebody's basement, right? If you need to fight back, fight back.
Because like you would much rather be bitchy than be dead.
Exactly.
Do you need to study self-defense for years to be effective?
No. I can give you just a handful of concepts and techniques, and as long as you practice those couple things, then you can be really good at them. But if you attend one class and get the basis for these things, it can be effective.
If a woman came up to me for self-defense and was like, my partner doesn't want me to learn self-defense. For me, as a coach, that is a huge red flag.
That's very sad to hear. Very unfortunate.
Your partner should never be like, hey, Beth, don't learn self-defense. This is to save your life. Yes. So if you're out there and then your partner's like, I don't think you should do that. Well, then I think you have to think, what's the reason why my partner doesn't want me to do this? We've encountered that.
Many times.
Which is very sad. All right, guys, and welcome to Becoming a Better You. So today we have a special treat. We have our head instructor of our jiu-jitsu program, Sensei Bethany Lopes. So we're going to talk about women's self-defense and what the importance it is for all women to actually learn self-defense and learn the right self-defense technique. So Bethany, welcome.
Thank you.
So let's just get into it. As a woman and a self-defense coach, why should every woman, female, teenager learn self-defense?
Well, self-defense is just, in general, just a good skill to have in day-to-day life. It just gives you a little bit more confidence. If anything should ever happen, just knowing that you can take care of yourself if anything happens to you or to your family, or that you know how to avoid situations, just puts that extra level of confidence into yourself and how you carry yourself.
Do you think most people... I think everybody wants to learn self-defense.
Right.
But sometimes it doesn't, it takes an event to happen, some kind of pain where they were attacked or they were almost attacked or they were scared to actually start learning self-defense, which makes sense. But as like a coach, wouldn't you rather people just learn self-defense to be proactive?
Exactly, yes. I mean, you want to avoid that happening in the first place, right? Because unfortunately, it does happen a lot. I've talked to a lot of people where it's happened, and that's why they come to us. But if you can avoid it happening in the first place, all the better, right? We don't want to have to deal with all the ugliness.
Yeah, and I think that when we talk about self-defense, it lumps into martial arts. Now, as we know, and as we teach it, like martial arts and self-defense are two different things.
Right.
And even as a martial artist, that took me years to figure out because no one really told me that. But can you kind of explain the difference between like a martial arts system and like a self-defense system?
So with martial arts, there's a lot that goes into it, and there's a lot of training in order to get really good, and you're ranking up as you go, as your knowledge increases.
Ranking up with the belts.
Right, yeah. With self-defense, I mean, I can take a dozen concepts and techniques, and you train those dozen things, and you're really good at self-defense and can take care of yourself. You don't need to learn 1,000 different martial arts techniques in order to earn the next belt or earn the next rank.
So the objectives are different.
Right.
So in like martial arts, you're trying to go for rank, a black belt. If you just want self-defense, you just practice these basic moves.
Right, and you'll be really good.
And you'll be really good because you have more reps.
Yes.
And that's what I talked about with Darren. As far as like with martial artists, like the issue becomes you know so many techniques that when you go to use it, you don't know which technique to use. Right. And that's why you often lose or get beat up. Whereas if you only know one or two moves, you're 100% going to use them because that's all you have.
Exactly.
Right? And that's the whole concept of like self-defense training. So when you, because you have a lot of young women, we actually have a lot of women in their 30s and even 40s actually come to us for self-defense. So what are the changes you start to see in them as they, like the first class you have with them until whenever?
The first class, obviously the first time you come in, everyone's a little tentative, a little nervous, but by the end, they're excited, right?
Are they empowered?
Absolutely. Yeah. So after just one or two classes, almost every single woman I've worked with has come back and said, they feel empowered, they feel more confident, and it's carrying over into work or school and how they're interacting with other people. I've heard that from almost everybody that have done either the women's self-defense or one-on-one training with.
And that's not just teenagers, that's like grown women.
Yes.
Who are telling you
women
that...
in their 30s and 40s, 50s and 60s, all ages.
Yeah, I think from what I've seen, and what people don't understand is once you feel more confident in yourself, it permeates to other areas of your life. So we have like professional women who are now telling us that they're more confident in their job. They can say no to their boss. They can say no to other areas of their life because of the confidence they got from the martial arts.
Yes.
Do you feel like because you started with me when you were young, how old?
16.
Yeah, and you haven't stopped.
Right.
Which is incredible. But like, how did the martial arts, now for those people who don't know, so you have your martial arts and the self-defense comes out of that, right? So it's like you still do the self-defense techniques in the martial arts, but for what we're doing, we're just extrapolating those main techniques, learn these. Mm-hmm. But as the martial arts, as you were training, how did that help you? More confidence?
More confidence, more discipline, I guess, in sticking with something or standing up for myself if I needed to, whether it's like at work or whatever it is, just standing my ground. And then obviously there's the physical aspect. You're staying active, so staying healthy.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things we don't talk about. When you start learning self-defense and you're doing the reps and you're punching the pads, you get physically more fit. Right? So for everybody, health is wealth.
Yes.
So like you want to make sure that you're doing something where you're learning a skill and getting healthy at the same time, mm-hmm. which is like the best of both worlds.
Absolutely.
Do you have a specific, without saying names, a specific person you trained who like just a great story of being timid or like maybe sending you like tons of questions before they started and then looking at where they are right now?
Yeah, a few actually, but one specifically I think you're thinking about.
Can you tell me?
Mind. Very, very hesitant, and like thinking about, honestly, I think for years before coming into anything.
And that's our job, right? To kind of shorten that. We don't want people waiting years to learn self-defense.
Right.
Right.
So she and I went back and forth for months, I think, just with questions and just making sure she's comfortable before coming in. And it was a lot going back and forth. All pleasant conversation, but like a lot of concerns to be addressed. And
do you remember what some of those concerns were?
The like not being strong enough. You don't have to be strong to do self-defense or martial arts. At least not the kind that we teach.
Right.
You just need to learn how to use your body in just the right way to make things effective. So you don't need to be strong. One of them was like, are you going to get hurt? Well, this is a safe place. You never have to do anything you don't want to do. So we started just doing one-on-one training. So it was just me and her, and she rocked everything we did. And now she's leveled up incredibly fast over the last couple of years.
And now one of your instructors.
Yes, she's now an instructor.
And I think that's like, so we talk about like, that's the path that people can take because like once you start learning self-defense and you're getting good and you know it's safe, mm-hmm. then you're like, oh, I want to learn more. And now you can add the other martial arts things in, like your throws, your joint locks, your chokes, whatever it is. But you need that base first, right? Mm-hmm. Which is why we then designed just a woman's self-defense semi-private, right? Mm-hmm. So can you tell me like what the semi-private is and why you believe it's the future of like teaching self-defense?
So with the semi-private class, it's just a small group. So it's me and max 4 other women. So when it's a smaller class, I can just give the individualized attention to make sure that you're actually learning the skills and not just say, okay, here, not just give a bunch of concepts to a big group of people and hope that they remember it. We can actually break things down, answer questions during the classes. Everyone has questions, right? If you're coming to self-defense class with a reason behind it other than wanting to learn self-defense, there will be a lot of questions and a lot of
like interactions.
Right. In interaction, just addressing whether it's fears or concerns, and how to not only implement the physical aspect of self-defense, but just using your body language, using your words. So incorporating all of that into this smaller class where I can work with a smaller group of people on a much more personal level.
It's customized to them.
Yes, it's customized to them, absolutely. So you're going to learn a lot more in a short amount of time than if you were to do like a group of 20 or 30 people.
For me, like, wouldn't anybody be more comfortable in a smaller group?
Oh, absolutely.
Than a class of 25 or 30?
Yes.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that starting a class for self-defense, a lot of people have their reservations about, because with a lot of places it is, and what we did for a long time, was it's a huge group of people.
You're just thrown in.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of people coming in for self-defense have anxieties or reservations, and they don't want that to be apparent to a huge group of people. But if they're with a group of, 3 or 4 other people that have those same...
Who are also women.
Right. 2 or 3 other women that have those same reservations. Okay, you're all in the same boat here. And we're all here to we have the same goals.
And what about the camaraderie between those women?
They end up very close,
yeah.
Typically. Because they're learning new skills for the same reasons. And they end up bonding.
Yeah. I think it's overall, the semi-private's a better experience because you learn more. It's customized to what you want. You can ask questions. So like if you weren't going to go over something, but they asked a question, you can then do that.
Right.
In a group of 30, you can't really do that. Right. And then they just get a higher level of attention. Mm-hmm. So they get better at what they're doing.
Yes.
It's like if you wanted to play guitar. Are you going to learn better in a group of 30 people, or if the person teaching guitar is like 1 or 2 people, and then you?
Right, just the one.
The whole concept. So I think that, we saw that because we're branded as self-defense, that's what we really do. Even though our base is jiu-jitsu, we get a lot of women. Mm-hmm. And we weren't able to service them in the way we wanted to, because we also have guys and we also have maybe people who've been doing it for 2 years. And you take a new person who just needs to learn these techniques and they get lost.
Yes.
So I think that's definitely the future for us. And how more exciting is it for you to teach that class, being so focused? Is it more fun for you?
It's a lot of fun. Yeah. It's, because then I can just kind of, again, because I'm able to customize to what the person or people are looking for, every class is a little bit different, which it is anyway, but just figure out how to implement what they're looking for in the most effective way. It ends up being a lot of fun.
And also as coaches, as senseis, seeing that progress is super fun.
Oh, of course.
Right?
Yeah, that's the best part.
Yeah, that's definitely the best part. So what do you think, so we talked a little bit about that person not to be named, but what do you think stops women from coming to learn self-defense? Do you think every woman on some level wants to learn self-defense?
I would say so. I mean, there's a lot of nervousness out there, like just walking from your car to your house. A lot of people are just concerned.
And I want to say that I don't think men experience that as much as women do.
Right.
Right? Like when I walk, now granted, I'm a martial artist, so I'm aware, but like I probably don't have the level of anxiety walking to my car in a parking garage as a woman would by herself.
Yes. Right?
You still get a little bit as a man, but like as a man with muscles, I'm less likely to be attacked than the woman walking to her car. Right? So what do you think then stops them from learning self-defense?
Sometimes it's just the trying something new, the new environment. But again, that's why we're doing the smaller groups. You're less,
intimidating.
It's less intimidating than with a larger group of people. Sometimes it's just personal reasons, making the time, finding the time. But
okay, now let's stop right there. If you want to learn self-defense, or if you want to get healthy and you want to get fit, but you can't find the time, our response is going to be, well, you didn't make it a priority yet.
Right. If being safe is a priority,
you will make
then
time.
you're going to make the time.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you want
important,
you're going to make time. And if you want to be healthier and lose 30 pounds, please don't tell me as a coach you don't have time. right? Because the only thing you're doing is cutting off time at the end of your life, right? So like, that's the whole thing. But anyway, go ahead. Because that's, when people say that to us, we just know that we just need to help them make it a priority. Right. Okay, well, you didn't have time to lose weight. Well, now you have diabetes, and now you have less time because you're at the doctor's, you're taking insulin, you're doing all this stuff. But go ahead. So time, could it be they're intimidated? Maybe they don't know what they're looking for?
Sometimes they don't know what they're looking for. Sometimes they do know what they're looking for, but there's things going on at home where their significant other might be opposed to it for whatever
and that
unfortunate reason.
So now, and I'm going to say, so if someone said that to me, so my job as a coach, if a woman came up to me for self-defense and was like, my partner doesn't want me to learn self-defense. For me, as a coach who teaches self-defense and awareness, that is a huge red flag.
That's very sad to hear. That's unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. And I think you have better way with words to tell people, but I'm kind of, more blunt. The fact that, that's a huge red flag. Your partner should never be like, hey, Beth, don't learn self-defense.
Right.
It's not like, that you're going to do, archery or something or piano. I don't want you to do that. Whatever. This is to save your life.
Yes.
So if you're out there and then your partner's like, I don't think you should do that. Well, then I think you have to think, what's the reason why my partner doesn't want me to do this? And from our perspective, is there a controlling thing going on?
Right.
Right? Is there an abusive thing going on? Right? So we have to kind of peel back the layers and kind of see what's going on. But yeah, we've encountered that
many times,
which is very sad. But it's our job to kind of tell them the truth. Exactly. Right? Because then we didn't do our job. Right. Are there any other reasons why you think that you've seen that women don't learn something? Do you think that maybe they believe, well, nothing's happened to me yet, so... Yeah, so sometimes it's nothing's happened to me yet, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it kind of thing. It's too late. And oftentimes it's just kind of in the back of your head. It's not, because nothing's happened, it's not a priority. What about so you have a young son? Yes. Right, but what about for moms? Why is it important that moms get we could say kids, but we're focusing on women here, get their daughters into a self-defense class? I mean, as a mom, I obviously want to make sure I'm able to take care of my kids. So the mom should be learning self-defense. The mom should, for sure. But then if you're putting your children or your daughter into a self-defense class, you're just preparing her ahead of time so to avoid anything that might happen down the road. And we know that college statistics, 1 in 4 women get sexually assaulted and raped. Right. Right. And it's probably higher than that because a lot of things don't get reported. True. So we want to be proactive. So what do you say to the moms when they're thinking of putting their daughter in and I don't know, right? So if you're learning this in the self-defense class, you're going to get that confidence and the knowledge that you need to take care of yourself. Right? You're going to be out on your own when you're 18, 19 years old. You're in college, or even if you're not, you're a young adult at the time, just experience all kinds of new things. But if you have that level of confidence from your time you're 12, 13, 14 years old, that you're able to take care of yourself if anything ever happened, whether things get physical or not, you're able to downplay a situation, avoid a situation, that, again, carries over into every other aspect of your life. I also think that when you're confident, you make better decisions. Right. And the earlier you're prepared for that, the better off you're going to be your entire life. Yeah, and I think, talk to me the importance of having a female role model for females, right? Because I know from my perspective, I've been doing it for so many years now. So kids that I trained who were kids are now adults. And you're able to instill in them your beliefs, and you do talk to them about things on some levels, as they get older and teenagers, you have more personal conversations with them, trying to help them through stuff. Yes. So how important is it for young women to have a role model that's in real life? You obviously you have superheroes, but you have Sensei Bethany. And we know that whenever you have a coach that you really like or a teacher, you look up to them. Right. Can you talk to me? So, yeah, I mean, if a
girl has that role model, that's what she's going to emulate, not just at the 10 or 12 or 14 years old, but if that's something was a positive influence, then that's going to, again, carry on for years to come. And then if it's like some of our other students who've become coaches, then they're doing the same thing for the next people coming in.
Yeah, and really having like that human connection with somebody.
Yes.
Right? Because everything now is so technological based that you kind of miss that human connection. But like when you're doing self-defense, you're grappling with them, like you have that bond.
Yes.
And if it's a young, so we have some young women coming up now, and they're going to have traits of you, as their role model, and emulate that when they go to school or they get a work job or whatever. And I think that's really important. I think that's one of the benefits of starting your child young. Now, for the most part, if you're a martial arts instructor, you should have a good core values of discipline, respect, being kind. So that's like a good person to emulate, So if you could only teach one concept of self-defense to me, I'm a woman. You only teach one thing, just a concept. What would it be?
Listen to your gut, pay attention to what your intuition is telling you, and then actually being able to act accordingly.
Okay, can you unpack that a little bit?
So when we go over this in like every self-defense seminar, I do this in all of my self-defense classes. Listen to your intuition. When it tells you something, that's what tells you when something is right, something is wrong. If your gut tells you something is wrong, do something about it. Right?
Don't just stay there.
Right. Don't just stay there. Do something about it. Whether it's, okay, another person's creepy, move to the other side of the street, side of the room, whatever. Acknowledge that they're there, so it makes you a less likely target. If you need to fight back, fight back.
So listen and trust your intuition.
Yeah, absolutely trust your intuition. And I mean, that's something that's really hard to, you can't really teach it. Do
you think it's more that like we're humans, so we downplay that intuition because we want to be nice to other people?
Yes. Especially, I think, as women, we just want to be kind and respectful. And if we're not being nice and respectful, as women, it's oftentimes seen as we're being...
You could say it.
We're being bitchy, right? But, that's taking care of yourself sometimes. That's what you have to do to take care of yourself. It doesn't mean that you're being nasty, right? But if you feel that something's wrong, it's okay to... I'd rather be nasty and look like... Call a bitch, than be...
attacked.
Hauled away to somebody's basement, right?
Yeah, so that's a great point, because like you would much rather be bitchy than be dead.
Exactly.
Okay, so now you can teach me one physical technique that I can use. What would that technique be?
My personal favorite, my go-to, is the open palm strike. I'm not going to hurt my hand, but I can hurt.
So what does that look like? This is my face. Okay, you just smash it right there.
Yes.
All right. Why that one, and what does that do?
It can do a lot of damage. I don't hurt my hand.
That actually stung me a little.
Oh, good.
Maybe I'm soft nowadays.
It didn't hurt me. But if it's coming right to the face, break the nose. If it's the eye, even better, or just as good. My hand's in your face. You can't see me.
You did not have to know how to punch.
I don't have to know how to punch. Right? It doesn't require any skill. It's an open hand to the face. It breaks your nose, breaks your teeth, and you can't see me because your eyes are watering. And my hand's in your face.
Is that the first thing you would teach a woman coming into the class for physical techniques?
Probably, yeah. That's usually the first one I'll go to. It's my personal favorite. It's versatile and hit them anywhere.
And so, like, if you were in, could you use that are you telling me to use that just once or like multiple times?
Oh, multiple times for sure.
Both hands?
Yep.
So if someone came up to me or you and you had to defend yourself because your intuition told you to, you could just keep throwing open palms?
Yes.
And know nothing else?
Yes.
That seems easy.
Right.
Okay. We have this down. So now let's say someone's coming up to you, mm-hmm. and then you get that intuition that something's wrong. Like, what kind of posture, what am I doing right now? Or do I just look down at the floor?
Eye contact, head up.
So you look at your adversary or your attacker.
Yep, looking at your adversary. Let them know that you see them. Just making the eye contact, having it head up, just sends a completely different message, gives you some element of control over the situation.
You're more assertive.
Right. So just asserting yourself puts you at least a couple steps up from where you were from down here.
Right. Where are my hands?
My hands are going to be in front of me. My hands are up in front. So this is my self-defense. This is my self-defense stance. You can't see my feet, but this is my self-defense stance. My hands are up in front of my face. I'm not making fists right here, but this is my back off, get away. And then if I need to, there's my open palm.
So you're already ready for your open palm.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Which is why when we talk about self-defense, like when they see these things, oh, it really is easy. Mm-hmm. You just have to know what to do.
Right.
And that's why it needs to be simplified. Have you ever had to use your self-defense skills outside of the studio?
Aside from like verbal, no, actually, I haven't. Just there've been a couple instances where it's just leave me alone.
Yeah. Isn't that the highest form of self-defense though?
Right. So it's pretty much avoiding the situation at that point. I haven't had to hit anybody.
Which is good for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's the look me in the eyes, leave me alone.
Yeah, because you can be pretty fierce.
Thank you.
Yeah, 100%. But I think, so, the funny thing is, if you really know self-defense, you're really trying not to use it unless you have to.
Right.
So by walking away, listening to your intuition and avoiding the situation, right, or verbally diffusing it is way better than physically going into an altercation. Because what we say is like anytime anything is physical, it's no one's going to win. You're not going to win. They're not going to win. So it's much better if you can just use your voice. So I would say that's the epitome of self-defense.
Right.
And which is why when you know to listen to your intuition, be aware of your surroundings, you can avoid a lot of situations.
Right.
Right. I've been in situations where either my buddies, or I think even with girlfriends, where I've left places because I was like, or I haven't gone to places because I was like, I don't want to take my girlfriend to this place because it's just us. Mm-hmm. There's going to be so many people that like we could get separated. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we could get, if she had to go to the bathroom, I'm apart from her. And, I remember even in Vegas, I was like, no, I don't want to do that stuff because like I can't protect her if I needed to. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Maybe she could protect herself. But as a guy, like I don't want to find out if she can. Yes. I would rather just keep her safe in the first place. I remember walking, we were on a cruise, it was Puerto Rico, and you can walk in like a certain area, like once you walk past a certain area, it changes. Mm-hmm. Now, she was more like, everything's great, whatever. And in my head, I'm like, okay, everything just changed right now. So like I'm looking out to keep her safe, to make sure that, no one's around us. I remember we got to a part, it's on the other side of the island now, and I started to get nervous. And I was like, somebody right now could drive by, push me to the ground, pull her in the car, and then that's it. Like that would be the end of it. Mm-hmm. So I made sure when I saw a police officer a couple minutes, like 5 minutes later, I was like, oh my God. But then I'm like, is he corrupt? Like, I don't know, because it was a cruise ship, right? And, but my intuition kicked in, and I was aware of my surroundings, like super vigilant of like, well, I'm watching cars go by. And like seeing if anything happens because of the training that I had, mm-hmm. And like, could you, basically I'd have to if you have self-defense training, or if it's even your son, you have to sacrifice yourself to protect them.
Right.
Right. That's what we do. So I think that's that whole like being aware of your surroundings and like, okay, I didn't have to use it, which is much better than having to use it. Have you had stories about your students having to use it?
Yes, I was talking to Sensei just the other day after the test.
Who?
Alicia.
Oh, Sensei Alicia, yes.
Yeah.
What'd she say?
She told us a while back, but she was recounting her
what was
story. It was, again, just verbal. She was walking her dog and...
That's right.
Yes.
Tell me that story.
So she was walking her dog, and I'm a little fuzzy on all the details. I've heard the story from 2 different sources. But someone was basically following her home, and she got home, went into the garage with her dog, went to close the garage door, and the guy ducked into the garage underneath, and she started screaming at him and yelling at him, like, well, not screaming at him, but like
being assertive.
Being assertive. And he left, and she called the cops, and I don't know if they ever figured out who it was.
Well, and I think that's important. Yeah, go ahead.
She's walking around with a big dog. This is not a little puppy. She's got a husky.
So that wasn't enough of a deterrent.
That was not enough of a deterrent for him to follow her into her, like duck under the garage door as it's closing.
But I think that's a good indicator right there, because like there's two options there. You can be really afraid and like cower, or you can be assertive and like, I'm going to get you. Right. And that's one of the big things when we talk about when men attack women, it's usually because they think you're going to be an easy target. Right? I'm not going to attack you if I think she's 100% she's going to punch me in the face. Like, I'm not going to attack you. I would attack the other person who's not going to do that, who's looking on their phone. Right? So by Sensei Alicia doing that, it changed the whole game. Right? It flipped the script. And now, what I would assume he'd be like, no, not this one.
Exactly.
Right? So, do you need to study self-defense for years to be effective?
No.
Tell me.
No. So, like we talked about a few minutes ago, it's like I can give you just a handful of concepts and techniques, and as long as you practice those couple things, then you can be really good at them. But if you attend one class and get the basis for these things, as long as you know how to use it and you recognize when to use it, it can be effective.
Yeah, because I agree with that. So even if you attend one 90 minutes. Literally in 90 seconds, I could teach you how to defend yourself.
One of the one-on-one sessions I did was a 30-minute session. And after that 30-minute session, the woman was, okay, I feel much better right now about my job traveling, and I feel empowered right now, and this was fantastic. She just felt significantly better about pretty much all the concerns she addressed before we actually started.
Yeah, and for those watching, and they're like, Mark just said he could teach me self-defense in 90 seconds. Yeah, because I literally just have to be like, trust your intuition, be aware of your surroundings. If you need to, fight back.
And here's the best strike to use.
And either palm them or poke them in the eye. I literally don't have to teach anybody watching this how to poke somebody in the eye. You already know that, right? And so while we say, I could teach you in 90 seconds, we would much rather have you do multiple sessions because we want reps.
Yes.
Right? So let's say I just want to learn self-defense. I'm going to come twice a week for 50 minutes. How many weeks do you, as a coach, would you be like, this is what I would really want you to do?
So with the twice a week, 50-minute sessions, the 16 weeks to start off is ideal. That will give you a really strong...
That's of a semi-private.
Right, that's with the semi-private classes. That will give you a really strong foundation. With that amount of time, as long as you're consistent, you're going to start to create new habits. Your mind's going to start to work differently in regards to how you're thinking about situations, how you're looking at situations in your day-to-day life. And then you'll be really good with your open palm strike and everything else we teach you.
And you're going to get faster and stronger.
Absolutely.
With reps.
Yep.
So say we do a 16-week semi-private for a woman. What would you suggest after that?
So based on, if you want to continue with the self-defense, we could stick with that. You're going to learn a lot more of the same. It's more reps on that. What I kind of get the feel for it with the students in my class now, we have the jiu-jitsu program, either large group or semi-private, which just expands on everything that you're already learning. So you have that strong foundation from the semi-private self-defense classes, but then if you hop into the jiu-jitsu classes at that point, you already have the basis for everything. You won't be confused, you won't be lost.
Do you feel like that's the best route to go?
Start with the self-defense and then go to yes.
Because you have the basis.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? And I think what we see now is that women who start with the self-defense, they become martial artists because they start training the jiu-jitsu.
Right. So
like before we talked about, you have martial arts over here. We take this stuff for this core self-defense. Well, now people start learning the self-defense and then I want to learn more. And they become true martial artists, right? Going for the belts and stuff like that. So it's kind of almost like the basis. And then when some people really like it and they continue like you did, right? Somebody's watching this. Let's say either they they don't feel confident. Their life is not where they want it to be. As a coach, right? You're a sensei. As a coach, you've taught many people, all ages. Can you look into that camera and tell them what you would suggest they do for somebody who's just not feeling their best? They're not confident. Their life is not where they want it to be. What would Sensei Bethany say to them?
All right. So if you're not confident, your life's not where you want it to be. You have to at least take the first step, right? If you don't take the first step, we're not going to get anywhere else. So even if it's just coming in to meet with us, meet with me, that's a start, right?
Could it be any coach?
I mean, really, any of the coach.
Yeah.
But I mean, I teach the self-defense classes.
Yeah.
It really could be any coach, whether it's another self-defense program. It doesn't have to be us.
Right.
If you want to learn self-defense, learn it where you're comfortable. But if you're not happy, you're not confident. I mean, those are important for life. So you got to take the first step and just.
And do you think, being a coach, do you think it's easier to take the first step with somebody who knows where you want to go because they've already been there?
Absolutely. Yes.
Right? Because I find that when we talk about like weight loss or any kind of thing like that, people try to do it on their own, right? But like, well, just think if it was jujitsu, you wouldn't be like, I'm going to try to learn jujitsu on my own, right? So when you have a coach who can help you in jujitsu and weight loss and guitar, just find that person, pay that person to get the results that you want.
Yep.
So you're happier, you're more energetic, you're more confident, and you get there faster versus trying to do it on your own and then giving up in 2 weeks.
Right. If you try to do it on your own, you're only going to get so far if you get anywhere, right?
Yeah.
But if you have a coach,
a caring coach too,
right? Someone who cares, they're going to be with you side by side, like every step, and any concerns are going to be addressed right away as soon as they're brought up. So, like any little thing, we'll work towards that confidence, towards those new skills.
I guess my last question is for me personally, because I've never asked you this, but like, for how much has the martial arts and training in that really impacted your life? Because the funny thing to me is like, you and Nick, you're like, we're introverted, like, right?
But I am for sure. I don't know about him.
I don't even see that. Like, it's just so funny when you say that. I was like, she's not introverted. Like, she teaches, she does this, she's doing, like, you're doing all this stuff. And then I have to remember, she tells me she's introverted. But you step up to everything I ask you to do. But like, how does the martial arts? Because I don't think if you had the martial arts, you like even this podcast, you'd be like, nah,
right?
You wouldn't have anything to talk about anyway because it'd be about self-defense.
This is like 100% outside my comfort zone.
It took us a while to get this down. But yeah, so how has the martial arts really helped you as a person?
So I've been doing this for more than half my life, so it kind of like is my life. Yeah. So I'm not even sure how to answer that because I've been in it forever. But
well, let's say we took it away. Let's say you never started training the martial arts, or you trained for like 7 weeks. Who knows? Just personality.
Things would be very different. I would probably be much quieter, much more reserved, just in general. Keep to myself.
Yeah.
Would not be. I'm like that. I feel like I'm like that anyway.
You're definitely not.
But here is different, right?
Why?
This is like my, aside from at home, this is my comfort zone. Right?
And is that what you try to bring to other people?
Yes.
Right.
For sure.
One of the reasons why we're doing this podcast is so people can see you and be like, oh, like she's really nice. Like she knows what she's doing. I definitely want to learn self-defense from her or somebody like her. Right. Because it's not always just a man in a gi with a black belt. Right. There's many people who know self-defense. We just happen to really, I'm going to say, really start to perfect how we teach self-defense. Right. From doing all the seminars and such like that. So is it fun for you then to see like your students the same way? Because like even the student we were talking about before went from being very shy to like rock star.
Right. Yes. It's a lot of fun to see the progress and the changes, whether it's after one class or whether it's after years or over time. It's a lot of changes, and it's exciting to see that.
And what's your favorite part of teaching self-defense or the martial arts?
I think that's it. Just seeing the change in people's confidence and skills, and just how it affects their overall personality and quality of themselves. I was going to say quality of life, but quality of themselves and how they're taking care of themselves.
Yeah, I think and we see it. People become a better version of themselves when they're here, right? And I often say that we see the best versions of people, right? Because we see them where they're coming somewhere to become better, to learn something, to get more fit. And I think it's always sad for us when, people stop or whatever, because we want to be on that journey with them, right? As coaches, we want to help everybody. We know we can. And we can only help the people who want help, mm-hmm. right? But we always want to take them from where they are to up here, especially the kids, or especially you do most of the self-defense training, but the young women, right? You have teenagers now. Mm-hmm. And then, you've had kids who were very young, 10, and now they're teenagers. And we talk with the parents about how can we help them if they're going through stuff.
Right.
So it's more than just a self-defense. You're really trying to shape these young women, or even young men, or even grown women and grown men mm-hmm. into that better version that we know that we can unlock. We basically unlock that for people.
Right.
Right. With them, kind of thing. But no, this was great. So to take it home, so what options do you have for women who want to learn self-defense?
The semi-private classes that we talked about earlier are, I think that's ideal, because then you're with.
You think it's better than one-on-one?
Yes.
Why?
Because then you're working with just a couple other women who have the same goals as you, have the similar goals, similar motivation, and you're learning these things, growing together, rather than just me throwing all this stuff at you and having you carry it over. So the one-on-ones are great. They're definitely very beneficial, and but working towards and achieving those wins and growth with a couple of the people that have the same mentality or same goals in mind it gives you, again, that bond that we talked about before. It's a different level of reward that you get with those classes.
So that's what you'd really always recommend, is the semi-privates?
Yes.
And if they didn't want the semis, they didn't want the one-on-ones, you do have a large group?
Yep. We got large group classes. We got one-on-one sessions.
Or seminars too.
We do have seminars. Yeah. Yep.
And I think the important thing with seminars is either me or you will go. We do an hour or 90 minutes and give either schools or organizations or even businesses the basis on self-defense. And then we even include sometimes an online course that we made, so they can have that as well. So, Bethany, I thank you for this.
Thanks.
I know it's a lot of your comfort zone, but you look fabulous.
Thanks.
And I hope that people watch this and hey, listen, I at least want to do 16 weeks of self-defense with Sensei Bethany, so I can be safe, my family can be safe, and then I can feel confident.
Cool.
Hello, my name is Dr. Marc Bochner. Don't forget to check out my new book, Pug Learns to Believe. Hey guys, Dr. Marc here. Now I know a lot of you want to know how we get all these amazing results with our clients, and it comes down to 3 things. The first is fun fitness classes that burn a lot of calories. 2 is giving you an accountability coach to make sure you stay on track and get the best results. And 3 is the nutrition. Included in the nutrition is our food supplements. So we pair with Prestige Labs because I feel they are the best, they have integrity, and they get great results. These are actually the supplements that I take as well. Here's the awesome part. By clicking the link below, you can save 40% off the retail price. So you need that link to actually save 40%. If you just go to the normal site without my link, you're paying full price, okay? So these are the supplements my clients use. If you are interested, definitely click the link below and it'll tell you all about them.